The thing is that homesteading is really amazing,
Yeah.
but it is really, really difficult. So difficult and so taxing mentally and physically.
Hello,
What's up?
my name is Audrey,
And I am Masana.
and on this channel we share our financial journey while homesteading.
Yes, our goal is financial independence. So we get a lot of questions that ask us how we actually got into homesteading. So these are the steps that we think you can take today to get into homesteading as well.
And these are some of the steps we wish we had done a lot more of before we started homesteading. So a little bit of research has been put into this.
Yes.
Yeah, so number one is research. I think we need to do a lot of research before you get into homesteading. Understand the different types of homesteading. There's urban homesteading. There's homesteading on your ancestral land, which is what our grandparents are doing. There's homesteading on a farm, which is what we did, buying our own land, and we started homesteading. Understand the different types of homesteading so that it can suit your needs.
Yes. Do a lot of research as well regarding things like, the regulation. What are you really allowed to do in your area, right? Because based on what you actually want to achieve, you have to look at if that regulation will actually allow you to do that.
Exactly. In some areas, like on a farm, you're not necessarily allowed to build more than two permanent structures. So you need to understand these things. You don't want a situation where you now have 5 houses, your whole family is now on the homestead and then they come and destroy that. So you need to understand all types of regulations within your area. And I think this is different depending on where you are.
Yes. And that also leads to costs. Do a lot of research regarding the costs.
Yeah.
So of course, it's never going to be really perfect, but depending on what you really want to achieve, start looking into how much it will cost you to get the things you really want. By putting a number there, you will actually realize, if you are actually able to get and do what you want to do.
Yes, absolutely. Because homesteading is very expensive. So it is better to just buy from the get-go. Then you don't have that expense of a bond or rent or whatever. But just understand the cost because they do creep up as time goes on.
Yes, and they become a very big, portion of the whole homesteading thing. You want to enjoy the whole experience and you don't want costs really to be the thing that drags you down all the time.
Exactly. And that then goes on to know your goals. What do you want to do on your homestead?
Yes, exactly. So, for example, do you want to live off-grid? Do you want to be sustainable? Do you want your homestead to be a business? Do you just do it for your family so you can all stay there? You really need to know what your homestead actually has to do for you, because that's going to form part of how you're going to plan out and actually approach this whole homesteading journey.
Exactly. So I think that then feeds on to now you need to start looking for the land that suits your goals.
Yes, exactly. So, for example, if you want to go into livestock, right, you're going to need a lot of grazing land, right? So if you say you want to have like 100 cows, for example, you definitely are going to need more than the hectares that we have here, right? You don't want to buy a portion of land and then find out that the things you want to do won't really be possible, So in terms of, for example, the land as well, like what kind of soil really is there? If you want to grow crops, you don't want to,
find out that the soil is not very good for crops specifically, or the crop that you actually like and want to actually grow. Yeah, the terrain is not suitable for that. So if you want to use your homestead as a business, you also need to know what kind of crops are you going to grow in that area? Who is going to buy them? What are people buying? Like all these things, you need to start thinking about them when you're now buying your land. And also, if you want to use it, let's say for Airbnb, is the place aesthetically pleasing? And if it's not, then what are you going to offer people for them to come visit you? How unique is your area? So those are things you really need to think about before you go into homesteading.
Yeah, but the good thing about this is that you don't just need to buy land, right? You can actually lease it, right? So it basically gives you this flexibility to see what can and cannot work, right? So you can find a piece of land. We've met a lot of homesteaders who have done this. They find a piece of land, they lease it for quite some time, and then they decide if they they want to actually buy, sometimes they buy somewhere else, but it also just allows them as well to understand homesteading a little bit better. And they then start their journey that way.
Exactly. And now we go into plan your homestead. I know this may sound like a repetition of stuff, right? But you need to understand, what are you really doing when you're planning? What resources do you have? Do you have water? Do you have electricity? Like all these things you need to start planning. What resources do you have on your homestead to get you going?
Yes. So earlier we spoke about costs and how they really add up. So for example, if you decide you want to do a lot of, like you want to grow a lot of crops and sell crops, right, to people, and then you move on to a property with no water, right? And that then could possibly be a very big challenge for you regarding, getting a tank there, getting pipes there, all that stuff. Like finding a way of water onto that property can be very, very expensive. So you really need to plan these things out. You need to understand, as we said earlier, what do you want to achieve, right? And then start planning it out. How will your homestead actually be structured?
Exactly. In terms of structure, even your garden, know where your garden is going to be, know what it's going to look like. Like, have these things in mind. Like, it's so crazy that we didn't plan for those things, and we just started growing our vegetables based on the resources that we had on the homestead. And we wish we had put in a little bit of more planning, how we wanted our beds to look like, what kind of beds do we want, because we started realizing no dig approach would not work here because our terrain, like it's a slope. So if you have a no dig bed, it is going to get washed away, and everyone is always encouraging the no dig approach. It doesn't work. So plan your homestead. A lot of people are going to give you advice, but what works for other people won't work for you. And a lot of the things are not working for us.
Exactly. I mean, considering our terrain as well, not only was it really steep, but also some parts of that exact same terrain, right, has very different, soil structures
types,
and then so we also have like a very swampy part there. So what happens is when it rains, the water just gets logged into that soil. So basically our plants would not grow very well in those areas. So in those areas, then we had to like raise our beds off of the ground. So really you need to understand and plan a lot better when you're going
before you even start. And another thing is just another point to all these points that I wish we had numbered them.
We should have. Again, plan your videos too.
Another thing is you need to start small. We took this for granted. I mean, it's been a game changer for us, just having this small garden, having this small homestead, and just learning from this. You need to start small. Don't take it for granted. A small garden can teach you so much.
Yes. So the thing is, when you go into like for example, we have just under 2 hectares, and we looked at it, we're like, it's not so big. And then like I had so much energy to do everything. I remember when I got here, like over the river, there's another portion, right, which we haven't like done much so far. But over on that side, there are actually beds there, right? So when I got there, I started to grow things. They were like what? Like, I put peppers, I put corn, I put all kinds of potatoes, cabbages were there as well. And I was so excited to grow things over there. But then, right, the problem was, it's very difficult to actually get water through there. And on top of that is that when it rains, there would just be weeds everywhere. And then one day I woke up and a bunch of kudu or bugs or whatever had actually eaten all of my things. And so if I had just been a bit more content with starting little by little, right? We, starting in like this area here where we're actually living, moving on to the next area, which is our, our garden, it would have just been so much easier. And you have to learn to just be a bit, like take it step by step.
Exactly. And you know what? With the space that we have, just under 2 hectares, we have not even started
about half.
Not
even
like
close,
it is. It's not even close. We still have so much work to do. Just start small if you can, on your balcony, in a bucket, whatever. You are going to learn so much. Just start small. And then to the next point, ask for help.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to start an Instagram page the moment we moved here, and we started asking for help a lot more, and it was so useful.
Yes, a lot of people have reached out to us on Instagram, not just advice, but not only do they send messages, they send voice notes, they've sent seeds. We've just had so many people reach out to us and show us a lot of love, right? Because when you're on this homesteading journey, it's really not like rainbows and just stars and beautiful things all, right? So a lot of our veggies are dying, or things aren't going the way it is, and to just have a community where they actually give us a lot of advice, it's just been really great.
Yes, and I think I wanted to just touch on the vegetables. Like, when you see vegetables in a supermarket and they look very nice, that farmer has gone through so much. So when we say ask for help, it's because for you to actually just get one cabbage, you go through so much. Just ask for help as much as you can. And we also realize that there are communities out there. In South Africa, there aren't a lot.
Many,
yes, but there is a Facebook page, and I'm going to put it in the description for you guys to click on it and then join that group, and then you get to see what other homesteaders are doing and how people are asking for things and things like that. And also there are people with homesteads like Heartwood Homestead and Good Luck Homestead, who sometimes give experiences. So then you can go to those workshops and ask and learn how to do a compost toilet, how to harvest water, how to grow certain vegetables, permaculture experiences and so on. I'll also link their pages here so that you guys can ask for advice from them and attend their workshops. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, but like for us as well, just like our whole journey actually started from meeting a homesteader family, right? It was Gavin and Janine from Coqueville. I mean, by now you know that we talk about them all the time. But the thing is, we actually got to see their home, right? And we've had so many firsts from just interacting with them. They showed us how their whole home was set up, the whole homestead is set up, and like they just showed us a lot of things, right?
Exactly.
The gardening portions and everything. And from Gavin's side, it would show me tools and welding and so on. So there's just so many things that you're going to learn from these people. So it is definitely worthwhile to just like, if you can get on these communities, ask a homesteader, like someone like, hey guys, like I'm looking and thinking of just going into homesteading. Can I see your homestead? Is there something I can do for you in exchange? Sometimes and then like these people are just so warm. Like that's the amazing thing. Like,
homesteaders are incredible. We have not met any horrible person who is homesteading. So I think it attracts a certain kind of people. Absolutely. And we've had so many people ask us to visit here. We will eventually bring people to our homestead. We literally just started, so it's a bit difficult to start bringing people in yet. But once we have learned, we've developed a little bit more of experience, then we will start bringing people to our homestead and have experiences on the homestead. The farming experience, harvesting experience, those kind of things. But time will tell. And just to add on to our next point, it is learn from experience. Masana just mentioned that we had to go to Coqueville to learn about homesteading. So you need to learn somewhere. So visit some of these homesteads. Heartwood Homestead actually has an Airbnb. Good Luck Homestead has an Airbnb. Coqueville Homestead has an Airbnb. Book into those homesteads and experience homesteading in real life.
And I mean, some of these homesteads as well, they also have courses, right? So also book a course if it's possible, right, for you. You can actually go to their Airbnb and then book a course and then learn about all of these things.
I think if you actually book into an Airbnb, you get to learn much more than just attending a one-day course. So do yourself a favor, save those coins and book into an Airbnb and meet a real homesteading family in South Africa.
They were giving us food and stuff. Like when it was a part of the package. Like
that's why we went there for the second time.
That's why we did go there for the second time.
Because there was free food. It's amazing. I think that's all really. I think the other thing that we would add on to it is just be consistent. Learn as much as you can throughout the whole process.
So the thing is that homesteading is really amazing, but it is really, really difficult. So difficult and so taxing mentally and physically. So you have to, and on top of that is that, you work on things and you think it's a lot of work, right? And then when you reflect at the end of the week, you look across your homestead and you're like, oh my goodness.
I haven't done anything.
I did not do a thing.
Yeah.
And so that then starts to also weigh on you and you feel like you're not really progressing, right? So the thing is, you have to be consistent. Like, sometimes I'm so tired and I'm not feeling really well, but I wake up in the morning and then I do something and it's a very small thing.
Yeah.
I know. It's so difficult.
It is difficult. Homesteading is the most challenging thing we've ever had to do. I mean, the experience is completely different. But I think that's all really. Like, research, know your goals, find the perfect land for you, start small, learn from experience and ask for help and be consistent and forgive yourself as much as you can when you feel like you are not achieving your goals, because you are. If you're still on the homestead, you are achieving the goals.
Yes, it's not going to feel like that all the time, but the thing is, you really have to learn to just accept that, some things maybe they're not going the way you want them to, but it's okay. You wake up the following day, you look across and you feel a sense of pride because what you're doing is really, it's really unique.
Yes,
right?
it is. It is.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling and, like we're moving towards self-sufficiency for ourselves and financial independence.
Yes, so it's been great.
It is. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching this. We appreciate all the support that we've been getting, whether it's in real life, through a phone call, on Instagram, and here on YouTube. We appreciate you.
So thank you so much. Comment, like, share, subscribe, share the video, whatever you need to do. But we really appreciate you joining in and watching. So see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.